Hi gang, just doing a quick tutorial if you're wanting to do vehicle or van signage by yourself and it's your first time, never done it before. This is, I've done about 6 or 7 vehicles now, so I've learned a few things along the way just to make it easier, quicker, faster, every type of speed. And just to help you get going, feel more confident, just see that there's nothing to it. And for the sake of a Saturday, or you can do a whole vehicle, all 4 sides. Again, for the simple signage like you see before you, but to a professional standard where everything looks square, clean, arranged properly, straight, no mistakes, a professional finish. Often what you have to do first of all, as with anything, is find a point of reference. So for example here, what I've done is found the center of the van, and then often you can find some kind of crease or line on the body where it's fairly straight and it looks to be towards the center of the vehicle. Many vehicles have this kind of thing, but if not, again, you can play around with it. This is the white tape you see there is actually PTFE, so it isn't stuck to the body of the vehicle. I've only attached it with a little bit of decorator's tape or masking tape, or you can get the blue vehicle auto body tape just to attach it at the front somewhere. Done the same again at the end. And what that allows you to do is that once you attach it at the front, you can pull it tight, and then you've got that freedom to adjust it up and down at the other end until it looks to be parallel with, say, the bottom of the vehicle. That's always a good reference. That's a straight edge of the body, and then you can attach it, step back, does it look parallel? Or if you so wish, you can, with a tape measure from near the start to the bottom of the car, and then again at the end, or somewhere here, for example, to the bottom of the vehicle. And if the measurements are essentially the same, then you know you've got it parallel and as straight as you can in the direction of the vehicle. Once you have that, then what I recommend doing is you get the biggest piece of the vehicle signage, especially if you have it where they're separate. Again, if you are wanting to do this on more of a budget, then usually you can order signage from places like custom signage from places like eBay or other sites, and they will send it to you, and you can get it for very cheap, you know, from £50 or $50 up to 100, 200, whatever you're happy with. Obviously the drawback is that you have to install it yourself, and especially if it comes in separate pieces, as you'll see as I go through this. You need to find a reference point and then get the biggest piece of the signage. For us here it's window cleaners, that's the biggest piece that we have. So you found the center, so to speak, you found the flat reference line. Now you have to worry about, obviously, it also being square this way vertically. So the way you do that first is that you get the biggest piece, again to save as much measuring, because that can consume a lot of time, is with the biggest piece, before you've, again, this isn't permanently installed, it's just been put on there with tape, get the biggest piece on a table or flat surface, get this edge, fold it over to this edge, make sure that the blue letter, the end of this letter and this letter are exactly the same. You can hold it up to a light to see through it so you can see that. Fold it in half, and then just where the fold is, just crease there and there, and you found the center of this piece of signage. Then you can mark it with a pencil or a pen, whatever, and now you have the middle of it. And then what you do is, again, there's a degree of eyeballing depending on how square the body of the vehicle you're using is. You can either then, with a tape measure, say from here to here, the panel, measure and find the middle point, and then you align that big piece of sign as the center of it with the middle of the panel that you're going to use. Again, with that, if you're wondering, well, how do I transfer that from here with it without it being completely off, I will show you. A lot of the time, because you work in the big area, it doesn't have to be millimeter perfect. It can be if you want, but nobody will ever notice it. It will look dead straight and true to the eye, you know, the person. But here is how I would do it. With some kind of straight edge, say a tape measure, because you've marked at 2 points, you now have a straight enough reference. You line this up with the 2 pencil marks down at the bottom, it will tell you where that line where you can mark off again with a dry white marker, for example, is very good when working on the body or paintwork of a car or a vehicle. And then once you basically that center panel there, you can use that to line it up. For me, it's finding where it fits best on the body, the biggest part of the signage, especially because you're advertising, you just want it to be as high up as possible, eye level, catch the most attention. And once you do that, once you've placed it where you're happy with, and again, because you have an extra reference line, you then measure from each edge of the bottom of the letter on either end, and that will tell you if you're parallel with the body of the vehicle, and it's going to look straight, you know, for a passers-by or whoever's viewing the signage on the vehicle. Once you do that, then everything else can be also referenced from that big piece. With the smaller piece that's going to go above, before I put it on, I folded it over, creased it where the fold would be, so I know that's the center of that piece. Then I can easily, with the straight edge, line it up on these two, and that tells me if I'm straight with this one. This one is to go slightly right, but I think you get the point. Once you've got that, again, distance wise, you can do again the same, referencing off this. You see what the distance is here, and say here and here, and if they're both the same, then you know that that's parallel and that's centered. I usually just go with a little bit of masking tape on each corner when I'm playing around with it. Once that's done, then I can apply a long piece of masking tape all the way up, and that allows me to do is flip up the signage whilst keeping it, making sure it's all in place, peel a corner back at a 45-degree angle while keeping a little bit of tension, keeping it slightly in the air, and then start to apply pressure. Or what I recommend, very good, is one of these. It's like a plastic squeegee applicator. You can buy these on eBay for 99p, and then with firm pressure you just go across, pull a bit more back whilst always keeping tension on the bottom so it doesn't stick anywhere else previously, and then when you swipe down it causes a crease. Or something else that helps, if it's too long a piece like this, once it's taped down in place, you can make cuts with a pair of scissors up to the tape every so often, and that just gives you more manageable chunks. Then you can just do one piece, finish with that, flip up the other one, pull again, do that, and go all the way across, and same again. Now your main reference point, you've got a horizontal line, you've got a center of where everything's going to be. Again, none of it's going to be picture perfect because you're working with very curved and surfaces and lines, and manufacturers like to make nice curves and sweeps and everything. If you're lucky, you've got an old square Volvo that looks like a brick, and it'll be very, very easy to work with. Otherwise, this is what you have to do. I'm going to have a piece of signage going down here as well. Again, with that, I would measure from wheel arch to wheel arch, or maybe from the bottom to the bottom. Find the central point, and again find the central point of my signage, tack it up there with a little bit of masking tape, and then here, because both of these are kind of curved, one up slightly upwards, one slightly down, oftentimes you just have to play a little bit around with it, step back like I am. Does it look parallel? Does it look straight? Does it look central? If it does, and off you go. So this is for the side of the vehicle. I'll also show you when we do the back, the bonnet of the vehicle. The other side also, because it's got a sliding door, things are going to be a little bit more complicated, but we can show you how to do that too. Other side of the van now, and doing the same again. Obviously with this one there's going to be a bit more fun because it has a side door, like I mentioned, which means getting around this significant ridge. There's various options, the ways you can do it. Some people prefer to, when they're applying it, heat up the bit of signage and they can stretch around it so that when you're actually looking at it head on, that little slope is compensated for, and then it still looks like a normal shaped C. Others just apply it as is and feel it doesn't make that much of a difference anyway. Still looks good. One thing that will change though here, as you can see, even the masking tape that we apply that keeps everything in position when we flip it up, take the backing off and then apply it, it doesn't obviously stretch, and we don't want this to stretch because that's what keeps it accurate. You get this. So what you can do, especially in these particular situations with the angles, say on the vertical plane, when you're applying it, the applicator on this kind of thing wouldn't be good anyway. So what we'll do here is make a cut with the scissors between this letter and here as well, and then you can apply a piece of masking tape once this is gone on this section here, and this one we can actually peel the backing paper off this way, apply it there, and that way when we get to the edge we'll keep everything nice bubble free. We're also, as you can see here where there's the door underneath, again you can try, I did on the other side, where possible shift the writing a little bit so that the cut lands between letters, but since it's a curve of the door it's going to land on some letters regardless. So here you just have to apply it, and then with a Stanley blade or something like that, just try and make the cuts on the letters as in the middle as you can of that gap, and then with the applicator just curve them around so they wrap around the bodywork. It still looks good. So that's what we'll be doing next. Yeah, gonna have lots of fun with this one because the logo kind of falls here as well. The track of the door, the other signage we're going to apply here. There's the filler cap for the fuel, which we also need to work around and make some cuts. All part of it, but again, all to say that anyone can do it. It's simple. You can do it all in a day. You just have to a little bit of forethought and planning, Okay, so if this lands here, where's the logo going to go? If the logo's there, the other thing's going to go here and here. Am I going to come into any different challenges or difficulties? Any other cuts? Any other gaps? That's all it takes. After that, a matter of getting a nice straight reference line, and like you'll see, what you can do is step back from the van, take a photo with your phone, and when you go to edit it or crop it, you usually have the option to also rotate the photo. And when you do that, there's a very detailed grid that appears on the photo, especially on iPhones, and I'm sure it does on Android. And you can see, even for there, if you're not sure, if things are too difficult to measure. For example, is this reference line parallel to the body, the chassis of the car? Also a big piece of signage, can I see from there, with the grid lines or with the crop features. You can slide it to these and compare, they're both parallel. The middle, again, you can choose either by measurement or just what fits best on the body panel, like I have. And then if you have the center of that, you can run everything else from those marks. And yeah, nothing's ever perfect, even the professionals. I could find a million flaws. It's just standing back, pass the by when it catches the eye. Can't think of any more rhymes. Does it look professional? Yes, it does. Then it's served its purpose. So this is what I mean. Once it's stuck on flat and applied, you just use the edge of the door as a guide for your Stanley blade. You run that across like that. And then, again with your applicator thing, you can just get in there and just stick on the, apply pressure sideways and stick on the rest of to the curve of the body. And then when you look back, like I say, it looks great. So this is what I was meaning about the middle section. Once you've applied the rest of the word or whatever, the signage, keep the top tape, obviously, to keep everything straight and true. Then get another piece, put it vertically. Then you can remove the particular letter. Be careful not to remove it from anything else. Just vertically peel it away. And then apply the rest of the vertical one. And now you can go ahead and take the backing off this way and apply it gently and then into the curve and follow it with the applicator. Follow it round. Really DIY, guys. You might have a laser level from doing stuff at home. It is helpful because they usually come with some kind of magnetic stand, and say for little things like this, you can say find the center of the logo, for example, like I'm doing, just by measuring the distance between these two parts, finding the center, doing the same again here, marking them with a pencil, putting this on magnetically, and then lining up those two marks I did with the horizontal laser. And this will shine a light across a dead straight line across the whole van. And little bits like this, folding technique, you fold it in half, find the dead center of it, put this here, knowing it's exactly in line and parallel with the main logo. And then all you have to mark is the distance you want here. For me, it's 12 centimeters or 5 inches for thy imperial friends. Then just tape it in the corners and apply. Job done. Same again on the other side. Easy peasy. But again, if you don't have that, that's the old school method that I've done here, is again with finding the center of it, extended with some tape. You can do this right across, find the center of this either side, vertically strike a line, and then you can extend that line further out. And that way you can just, with pencil marks instead, find the center of it and place it where you want. And again, it's dead straight. That's your it's taped now. Make sure everything does transfer as precisely as possible. Is once you put the masking tape on, just with your fingernail, just run it on that ridge that's created between the paper and the tape, and that way when you lift this up, it's not going to allow it to move slightly sideways or anything, because it's you've stuck the tape right to the edge, leaving no room for movement.